and welcome back to Celebrity Goddess Oracle. So, as you know, I like to use the Goddess Guidance Oracle cards. So today, this is an extension of a viewer request. I've done a reading for Victoria Beckham and for David Beckham separately. So today we're going to look at the energy surrounding them as a couple. So we're going to look at David and Victoria Beckham as a couple. Oh, okay, straight out the deck. Okay. Gosh, right. Okay. Let's connect in some energies. Oh, gosh, right. Okay. This is a card that came up in David's reading, fairness. Gosh, no, too many cards actually. We just need... Let's have a look at a further card for a miracle. So they're both incredibly successful in their own rights. Wow, that just came flying out. Transformation. Both incredibly successful in their own rights, and obviously together as a power couple. They're brand Beckham, the two of them together. 5 beautiful children. Just lovely. Right, let's connect into the Mother Earth card and see what else. Okay, sacred space. And one more for fairness, please, and then we can perhaps dive in. Okay, 2 cards for this. Be strong, and medicine woman up here as well. Okay. Maybe This is a really interesting energy actually. The thing I'm really feeling here is actually resistance. Gosh, this is the overwhelming feeling that I'm getting right as I connect into the connected energy. So we're going to look at the Archangel Michael cards. I'm just going to pull a couple for this. Now, when I did David's reading, one of his animal totems that came up, I think it was a buffalo. That kind of like I said stubborn, and that is the stubborn energy, but it's also with this is like one of resistance. So let's dive in and have let's look a bit closer actually at the energy around that and see what comes out of it. A card for this please, and we'll just see. Okay, straight out the deck. Okay, that makes sense. And one for here. Right. Okay. Right, and one for here. Oh gosh. Right. And one for here as well, I think. Then we can actually dive in and do this reading. One more. Okay. You and your loved ones are safe. Okay. Right, so in both of their readings there was this connection to do with business, and this connection between sort of business and their business life and their love life is very, very intertwined. They are the brand Beckham, as we've talked about, and there is this real sort of feeling of change around them. And in fact, before we get to change, which is transformation, we've got challenge. And there is talk about going in a different direction. There's talk about this going in a different direction. They do share true love. This is a card that came up, I think, in Victoria's reading, or Undying Love, and this is connected to that. This is a slightly different read as a couple, because they have this true love. Their love is really true, but they are struggling in they're at a different point. They're at a different point in their relationship actually, where things have changed and they're changing. They've been together for a long time. They've been married for a long time. They've had a number of children together. They obviously, their children are going through different stages in life, and there is this feeling that a need for readjustment within that relationship. There is real love there. There is real love there, but marriage is work. It's real. It is work, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not. The core of it isn't, but the practicality and the day-to-day and the challenges that sometimes we face definitely are, and that's the feeling I get when I've read them individually and I'm reading them now as a couple. There is this feeling, and I said in the previous readings, and if you haven't viewed them, please do view them, because then what I'm about to say will actually, make sense. There's this feeling there's a lot of money connected with this challenge, and there's almost like this feeling that there needs to be a miracle. Something really needs to shift. Yeah. It's like, well, we've got this challenge, and maybe you might think, well, they've got so much money, how can they possibly have any challenges or problems? But sometimes the more money we have, the problems just get bigger. And it's not that we don't have problems, it's just that they get bigger. And I feel here that there will, I said in my previous reading for both of them that there needs to be this massive shift, and that the boundaries need to come, and that they will come, and with that will come the transformation, particularly for Victoria, because this is really going to challenge her. It's going to challenge her on so many levels, and it's really going to make her question herself and to delve deeper into sort of like the meaning of life, is what I feel. Here's the thing. Sometimes, we hold on so tight to things, yeah? We think, well, if we just hold on a bit tighter, I touched upon that in David's reading in particular. If we just hold on a bit longer, then, that's what's going to make the difference. But sometimes you need to actually detach from the situation. You need to let go. And in that letting go, the transformation happens and the miracle comes. And I think for them, that's very true. It's very, very true. There is this real connection to experiencing. These are parents who very much adore their children. I get this feeling that they're. I get this feeling that there is concern. There's concern around, they're very famous, they're very well known. And with this card in particular, I get this feeling that there is question around their safety. And, I get this real feeling there's concern around safety, personal security. But, here's the card here, we'll connect into this. These are people, and as we all are, looked over and cared for, and protected by the divine. And there's a lot of love and safety being cared for by people in their lives. Actually, people that are close to them really do care for them, really do look after their interests, which is lovely. I feel that part of this concern is sort of like this connection is sort of like for their welfare as parents, for the future of their children. There's a lot of talk about obviously environmentalism, and quite rightly so, and concern about global warming. And these are parents that really care about that. What's the world going to be like? What kind of world we're going to leave behind for our children? A lot of this, as we talked about transformation with Victoria, a lot of this is going to bring up questions about sort of not just the connection to, not just sort of the requirement for environmentalism and looking after the practical side of Earth, but also this connection to sort of like the greater meaning of life and our role in life, and what that really means, and how that connects with their role as parents. So it's really lovely. These are parents that are deeply connected to their children and love their children very much. There is this sort of feeling of being worried, being concerned about the future, what kind of future they're going to have, and their safety. But that's okay, that's fine. I get this, so with them as a couple, I get this feeling that so we've talked about sort of the financial challenge around one of their joint projects, but I feel that there's something else actually. I feel like there is sort of like a question of, it sounds kind of, I'm just going to go with it because it's all that I can see. I get this feeling that there's a question about copyright. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I get this feeling of this question of being ripped off. Being ripped off and I feel like being ripped off and intellectual property, actually, that's what I can see. And yeah, that is literally what I can see. Intellectual property and there being a question around this. And I feel that the heart of this matter is connected to, I feel it's connected to somebody that they know. It's somebody that they know and that they've trusted, and who, this is going to be, yeah, who they've known and they've trusted, and that's, you know, a real challenge. You know, there's going to be this real challenge about it. The outcome will be one of fairness. They will get a fair outcome. They're going to need to be, like, take a strong stance on this, okay? But they'll win. They'll win on this. There is going to be that sort of like, this is almost, with this card in this reading, in this context, this is almost like karmic energy. You know, if somebody does something bad to you, karma doesn't mean that there's, it's going to happen, you know, in the same context with the same people, but it does mean that there is this equaling and this balancing of situations that's going to happen. And I do feel here that, yeah, this goes to karma and that will happen. And there will be a fair outcome, whatever that is. So I have no idea what it is specifically, other than it's connected for some reason to a copyright issue, right? Or intellectual property. So we're going to actually connect into the animal totem spirit energy, see what else we can see. I like to use the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck, as you know. Beautiful art. Absolutely beautiful. Walk. Lovely. Right, okay, so let's dive in and see what else we can see. If you do have a request for a reading, like I said, this is an extension of a viewer request. Please make a comment below and I'll do my best to see what I can do and fit it in. Right, let's connect in with the energy. Oh, wow. Okay, so this is a card that came up for David, I believe, in his reading. Okay, and this is a card that came up for Victoria in her reading. Okay, all right, one more. Okay, and two more, three more. Okay. Okay. Okay, and the unicorn. Right, so this is interesting energy, right? So we've talked about the oyster before. These are a goal. I mean, look, they're going to, this is the kind of couple, and we've talked about this with David's card. Their situation is challenging, but they're going to take whatever the irritant is, okay, like an oyster does, and they're going to put shellac around it, and they're going to turn that irritation into a pearl, and they're going to have this fairness and this outcome that's, you know, that's good for them. It's going to be this good thing. There is transformation in this. The moth represents transformation for the two of them as a couple. I feel that this is a short cycle. I'm not sure that the making it of has been short, but the outcome is going to be relatively short. We're talking sort of like 6 months, you know, before we see this coming to pass. I think that's what I can feel with this. They are, this is really interesting. This is really interesting. The Cobra energy is one of sharp insight, let's call it that way. I get the feeling that there's this requirement for sharp insight. I do get the feeling that there's been a little bit of, how do we say it? Okay, a little bit like laissez-faire, actually. Laissez-faire. I get this feeling of, like, you know, autopilot slightly, or maybe not autopilot, maybe trust. And there needs to be an energy of watchful, you know, watchfulness actually with this. In this reading, the serpent represents the circle of karma. We talked about that here, didn't we? And what karma meant. And here's the thing, you know, these are what they called David Beckham golden balls back in the day. These two are a golden couple. There's a lot of, you know, I think we're actually going to see, different things coming from them actually. You know, whatever this situation is here is going to prompt such change in their dynamic, a deepening of their love, a change in, you know, Victoria particularly as an individual. And then as they come out, they're going to take this grit and they're going to turn it into pearls. And then they're going to create something really magical. I mean, I've got zero idea what that's going to be. I don't feel that it's going to be straight away. You know, we're talking 6 months here. I feel like here that this is 18 months, 2 years before we get to see the outcome of the outcome of all of this actually, what that's really going to look like. So I know that's a while away, but in the 6 months we're going to see all this other stuff transpire for them as a couple. You know, they've got the two of them have got a really strong connection. They do have a really strong connection. Their love is genuine. They are not a couple without challenges. They do have challenges. They've got a lot to give to each other and to their children. And I feel, you know, this, whatever this is, it's going to sort of, they're going to branch out further actually. And this sort of internal quest individually for Victoria in particular is going to bring forward really, I think, a really deeper, we're going to see somebody, you know, depending on your point of view about Victoria, some people sort of view her as being quite superficial. In fact, I don't really get the feeling that she's superficial at all. I think she's quite deep. But I feel that whatever this challenge is going to be for her, we're going to see a deepening of that. We're going to see a deepening of that, and she's going to come out of her shell, and she's going to really start to show the inner goddess. I don't know if you viewed the video, you'll know that the inner goddess card came out for Victoria. We're going to see that. But there is this requirement for them as a couple, and they're, you know, to focus on themselves as, you know, in that dynamic, in that husband and wife relationship, and to move together as things transform. You know, nothing stays the same, nothing is static, and so it is with them. So it is with them, and, you know, as they make that adjustment, as they make those changes together, and as they walk that path together, then, you know, we'll see these great things to come for them. They're going to, you know, there's a bright future. There is a bright future in what they're doing, but there is this challenge here. So I hope you've enjoyed that reading. If you'd like to like, share and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. I do personal readings. If that would be of any interest for you, please do reach out and connect with me. We're all gods and goddesses in our own lives. I'm sending you all of my love. In the meantime, look after yourselves and look after each other, and I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.